Welcome to Kevin Deal Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to be doing an in-depth review of the Neewer MS60C video LED light. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Deal Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. So I've done a lot of reviews of LED video lights over the last couple of years. I've done everything from tube lights to panels to small handheld lights to bicolor key lights like the one that you're seeing right now. But one thing I haven't really done a lot of is RGB lights that have Bowens mounts on them. And so that's something that I did want to explore. And Neewer reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to review the MS60C. So I took them up on their offer, and they did give me this light for free in exchange for a review. But like all of my videos, my opinions are going to be my own. It's going to be completely independent, and I just wanted to be transparent. But I will tell you what I like about this light. I will tell you what I think could be improved upon about this light. So stick around and I will give you my honest opinion about the Neewer MS60C. So let's talk about this light. It's extremely compact. It's 65 watts. For the LEDs inside that you see, it is bicolor on the white side, so you have warm and cool beads in there. You also have RGB beads in there. In addition to plugging into a wall outlet, it actually comes with this pistol grip. It comes with this mount. You can mount V-mount batteries to it. You can mount Sony NP batteries to it. Now the MP batteries and the V-mount batteries are sold separately, but you can get generic MP mount batteries for pretty cheap. And so that's pretty cool. It does come with all the cables that you need. So this cable right here that hooks the batteries up to the light unit, they do come with it in addition to a wall wart power supply. It has 90 degrees of articulation on the pistol grip. And so this is really good for remote video making. Turning it on, it's super simple to use. It has a CCT mode where you can change the color temperature and the tint. The knob on the left is your intensity. The knob on the right, when you're in CCT mode, is either your color temperature or your tint, your green or magenta. Having it be bicolor is great because you can match your scene. If it's cloudy outside, you can make the color temperature cooler. If it's closer to golden hour, you can make it warmer. Or if it's middle of the day, you can of course put it at daylight. And so it matches your white balance. It makes your scene look really good. Super simple to use. And then you also have different modes. So I told you that this was the intensity, but as you click it, you scroll through the different modes. And so now I'm in HSI, that's hue, saturation, intensity. So as I scroll through with the right knob, it changes my 360 degrees of color. And of course, all this can be done in an app, which is much easier to use in my opinion, even though I will say that the setup on the back of this is super simple to use. You click to another mode. Now you're in RGB CW mode. It's just like being in RGB mode, but you can actually adjust your whites, which is good. That can help you balance your colors. So I think you get the basic idea of the operation from the back panel. Let's dive into the app, and I'm gonna actually change out my key light and replace it with the MS60C for the rest of the episode. So as you can see right here, I have my 28-inch softbox up with a grid. Had the intensity exactly where it was with my other 60-watt light, which costs about twice as much as the light that you're seeing right now. And I'm going to go ahead and open my Neewer app so we can test some things out. So this app can be downloaded at all app stores, Google Play, Apple, etc. When you get into the app, you'll see your light appear right here. And if for some reason it doesn't, just make sure you go into your settings and make sure that it is communicating wirelessly. And then you click on it, it'll connect to the light, and then you'll see some tabs. So you'll see CCT, you'll see your light sources, you'll see a source match, you'll see a CTO-B, HSI, you'll see RGB, a picker, RGB CW, FX, FX Music, and an FX Picker. So CCT is what I'm primarily interested in right now. I'm going to put my brightness at 36% on this because my brightness was at 36% on my other 60 watt LED. I'm at 5600 daylight balance, which is what I have going in my studio. But obviously, if you have something like tungsten and you want to go down to the 30 something hundreds, so right now I should be pretty orangish. But that's okay because that's the way tungsten is. So if you had tungsten lighting and you were using this in a studio, it can give you that tungsten look. We're going to take it back up to daylight. There we go. And so this is back to daylight. Of course, if you had some cooler LEDs, maybe you're doing some stuff in the shade, you can of course turn this guy up high. So your range on this is 2700 all the way up to 6500 Kelvin. Now within the app, you also have a green magenta shift. So if you're looking at this footage right now and you're like, I think Kevin is too green, or I think Kevin is too magenta, you can actually go in and shift to more magenta. You can shift it to more green. Pretty cool stuff. So I'm just going to leave it in the middle. I can always adjust my green magenta in post if I need to. Light sources. This is really cool. I'm going to take the brightness back down to 36. So that is one thing that the app does, is it doesn't consistently give you the same brightness as you switch to certain modes. So that's something to keep in mind. I just went from CCT to light sources. I had this set at 36% and it defaulted to 50 when I switched over to light sources. So it's at sunlight right now. I was just talking about magenta and I was talking about incandescent bulbs, all that fun stuff. So right here, white halogen light, short arc lamp, xenon, horizon daylight, daylight with cloud, tungsten, what we just talked about, a studio bulb, all this fun stuff, modeling lights. So you can emulate certain types of light sources if you want to. So that's basically presets. If you don't know what your CCT should be at, and you can kind of figure out what a source is to match to, this will get your CCT balance correct, or at least close. Now you have source match where you can match it to a source. You have your CTO over B. Now what CTO over B is actually quite important. Now for whatever reason it defaults to the brightness of 100. I'm going to take it back down to 36 because that's what I've been operating off of. There we go, we're at 36. It's at tungsten right now, so I might look a little weird with my white balance, or maybe I'll look good, who knows. But what you have here is you have CTB, CTB 3600, that last one was CTB 4300, and what CTB and CTO do is, let's say you're shooting at golden hour, and you know the sun at golden hour tends to be pretty warm. It could go all the way down to 2000 Kelvin or 3600 Kelvin. The cool thing about the CTB filter is it can change your source. So in this case, I'm the subject. It can make me match the exact same color temperature as my scene. If let's say it was an overcast day and it was super cool looking outside, it can make me just as cool as my ambience. And so that's cool. I know a lot of apps out there don't have this feature. Most LED lights like this do come with really cool apps, but I haven't seen a lot of them that have CTB and CTO matching, and that's something that you really need to learn if you want to get really good at video and understand white balance. And then if you see down below, there's different presets you can save, and then as you can see right here, that star is, you can favorite something. And so if I wanted to favorite this, I could. HSI mode, they have some very basic primary colors like red, orange, yellow, green, and your blues, and so on and so forth. Then of course you can just grab this color wheel and move things around wherever you want. So moving on to RGB, that's slider based. So right now I can turn all the red pixels up. I can just completely cut all the red pixels out, and so now all I have is green and blue. I'm going to cut the green out, and now I should look kind of blue, and there I am looking kind of blue. That's cool. You've got a picker. Now what's cool about a picker is I can take a picture of anything and it'll change it to that color. So I'm going to take this Kodak film right here. I'm just going to take a picture of this. There we go. Tap to select. And now my light, it's a little too intense. I'm going to take it down to 36 where everything has been. Now the light is the same color as my Kodak film. And that's kind of cool. Your RGB CW. The only difference between RGB, so as you can see right here, you have your 3 sliders that we were just using, your RGB sliders. RGBCW is the same thing, it's RGB, but you also have cool and warm beads in the LED lamp as well. And so that allows you to fine tune the color temperature and the colors together. And that's pretty awesome. So you have 17 different effects. This is the hue pulse. You have different speeds of the hue pulse that you can do. You can change the hue, of course. You can change the brightness. I'm going to take it back down to 36, like I've been doing this whole video, so I can kind of give you a consistency. I can make the saturation go down. So right now it's pulsing with just a tiny bit of the color, and now I'm pulling the color in a little more, and now the color is going to be really intense. Now you can go to Cop Car, which is super bright. This is the first LED light in which I've seen the brightness having a range. It's almost always fixed. I've never seen one that isn't fixed, so this is a really cool thing. You can, of course, change the color temperature of your candle light as well. There's a speed, there's a tint for green and magenta. There's different spark algorithms you can throw in there. So this is actually much more advanced control of candlelight than I've seen in the past. You have your hue loop where it just loops through a hue. You can, of course, change the range of the hue. So you could just have it be nothing but like blue and magenta loops. That is also cool. The range on here is, I don't want to say it's unprecedented because there may be some other LED light that has it, but I haven't seen it. I've tested lights from all the competitors, and I haven't seen a hue range. That's really cool. It also has a speed. CCT loop, once again, you have a range, so maybe you just want to have it loop between different cool color temperatures. And so you could have it do that, and you can put the speed on and all that. Let me take the brightness down. So it's doing a loop of nothing but cooler color temperatures. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take it to the very extreme end of the cool color temperature range. There you go. Now I can make it loop on nothing but warmer color temperatures, which I'm doing. There we go. When I'm trying to set the ranges, I found that the bars are kind of hard to grab with my finger on the app. So hopefully with an update, that's something that they can change. And then there's effects music. So when you hit the play button, so like when I'm clapping my hands like that, it's reacting. Or I go boom, 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 boom. This is where I make techno with my mouth. I'm just messing with you, but it's reacting to my voice. And so if I had music playing, the light could react to the music. There's other effects like wedding, explosions, defective bulb, paparazzi, lightning, party, fireworks, TV screen, etc. So your typical effects that you see in these LED lights. So who should buy this light? Videographers who need to be portable, who need a 60-watt bright light. This gets the job done. It gives you those bicolor looks that you need. It can adjust to different color temperatures. And then if you find yourself needing to do special effects, needing to go RGB, needing to color match something real quick, I think this is a perfect light for you. Who should avoid this light? If you're a stills photographer and you want to do stills, unless you're doing something really close like headshots at a meter, you're probably not going to want to buy this light for stills, because even at full power, you're probably going to have to take your ISO up to something like 3200. You may be shooting at too slow of a shutter speed to where your subject may have motion blur, and your aperture may be super shallow like 1.2, 1.4, 1.8, and parts of the face may be going out of focus. And so I don't think I would recommend this for stills photographers, but in all fairness to Neewer, they do not market this for stills photographers. They market this product for videographers. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the MS60C. Obviously, it's very light, 1.5 pounds. It only comes in at a price of about $167. If you go to Amazon, they regularly do like $11 off that. So it's like $150, $160 light roughly. That's an incredible value considering that it's a 60-watt light. It's super compact. It can run off batteries, etc. The fact that it can run off batteries is a pro of this light. The light doesn't put out too many BTUs. It doesn't get too hot to the touch when you're operating it and you're carrying it around. That's good because it's a portable light and you don't want something that's going to burn your hand. It has a very easy to use app that has clever features like ranges for CCT loops and all that. And of course, if you don't like apps, it did a great job, a fantastic job of just being controlled by the 2 knobs on the back. I like the fact that there's only 2 large knobs and a couple buttons below. It's not huge submenus or anything like that. It's very easy to operate if you're not the app type. Another great thing about it is it does come with a carrying case. I didn't realize it came with a carrying case, but when it showed up, to my surprise, it did have a carrying case. But that leads me to my cons, which there are not that many, Despite the fact that it does come with a carrying case, I will say that the longevity of that carrying case, I doubt I could get more than a year or two out of it if I use this light regularly out in the field. And I found that the styrofoam in it was kind of jumbly and fell out easily, and things didn't really stay in place well. And then that leads me to one of my other cons, which is I don't really feel like this light should have this mini Bowens mount on it with an adapter. I think that they could have just more cleverly designed it by having the Bowens mount permanently attached to the light, and then have this modifier be slightly larger and just have it be a standard Bowens mount to begin with, because that makes storage more complicated when you put it into the case, because when you put the light into the case, you have to detach the Bowens mount adapter and put it in a separate storage spot. If they had just cut out the styrofoam and then permanently attached a Bowens mount adapter to this light, transporting it would be much easier. Unfortunately, you have to detach and reattach that adapter anytime you want to use a Bowens mount. And that's primarily how I want to use this light, because I plan to use this light in my podcast studio as an accent light, because we're going to start streaming stuff on YouTube, and I want to have a really beautiful RGB light to accent the walls. And so it's going to be kind of a pain every time I go set up that light. I'm going to have to put an adapter on, take it out of the case, and when I'm done, put the adapter back in the case, instead of just designing the darn light to have the adapter permanently attached in the first place. One other thing is that the batteries cannot be charged while it's in use. That's not really a problem for me, but if you're remote, maybe you want to plug into a wall outlet and have it charge the batteries while you're using the unit. You really can't do that with this. That means that you have to take the wall wart with you, and you have to take the batteries with you in situations where you're going to use it plugging into the wall or use it remotely with the batteries. But that's really it as far as the cons. The pros far outweigh the cons. And like I said, for $150 to $170, because the price on this seems to fluctuate on Amazon, I feel like it's a fantastic buy. I say buy with confidence if you are looking for a compact light that can do CCT very well, bicolor for your warm and cool color temperatures for stuff like a key studio light. It does a fantastic job of that, but it also gives you RGB. I have reviewed so many lights that do a great job for bicolor, but they don't have an RGB aspect to it. The fact that this has an RGB aspect to it, the fact that it is a small light, to me makes it a great value and a great buy. That does it for today's episode. And if you like what you saw today, tell me about it in the comments below. Have you purchased this light? Do you like it? Tell me about that in the comments below. And if you like this channel, I humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below. And if you like the discussions I have on this channel and you want to go more in depth on some of the photography related subjects that I talk about, I highly encourage you to go check out the F11 Photography Podcast, which can be found on all major platforms, including Apple and Spotify. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.